What is a sign that you're unattractive? Small kids saying you are ugly. Yes. Or ask about a certain aspect of your appearance. Why is your head so big? Little known fact. Movie stars have large heads in relation to their bodies. Maybe fact was too strong, so let's go with it's rumored that. Quote. You're always the smart cousin. Never the pretty cousin. So, how's your cousin doing? Clicking on this thread to see how many things you relate to. People cringing when they look at you. People not looking at you. Dang. Guys, I think I'm ugly. When people don't laugh when you joke about how unattractive you are. And then you purposely laugh at your own joke to signal to people that it is a joke and they should laugh because you now feel very uncomfortable. But they'd rather you feel uncomfortable than risk seriously hurting your feelings by laughing. When you post a selfie saying you're ugly and everyone is nice instead of accusing you of fishing for compliments. When you show up in court due to a parking ticket and end up with a 5-year jail sentence. When they always mention how funny or smart you are. That's the truth. I get told that a lot, but in a way that screams, you're pretty cool but too bad you look like a malnourished Somali pirate with smallpox. There's a lot of people where attractiveness is not their #1 trait. But they're also not ugly. So don't worry. You're probably not that ugly. Hi fellow classmate. I have a boyfriend. Quote. They say your best traits are that you're funny or have a nice personality. You don't get any matches on any dating apps. Nobody ever looks at you. No compliments from anyone besides teachers and the like. No eye contact. People will FK with you for SS and giggles. You're that friend in the friend group that's always forgotten about. People do that thing where they smile or chuckle at things you said that weren't funny. I'm probably forgetting some, but as an ugly dude. These are what I notice the most. Mirrors? What are those? And most importantly, are they real? Especially if our eyes aren't real? If you say something along the lines of, I'm ugly, in a social situation and everyone gets really awkward and uncomfortable instead of disagreeing. You're unattractive. Or people could just be awkward that someone is either fishing for compliments or straight up putting themselves down in front of others expecting a response. When you take 20 selfies and can't find a single good one. When your friends describe you as someone with a big heart. And a good sense of humor. What a great character in general. Nicest lad of all. If you're panicking while reading this thread. Why did I read this thread? It's just making me sad and uncomfortable. Being asked out as a joke. Yeah. That really destroyed my confidence and any and all feelings of self-worth as a 16-year-old girl. It's been 12 years and I'm in my first relationship and I still struggle to believe that a guy could actually like me. It's even worse when people say hi to you as a dare. When I worked at a homeware store, I greeted a guy and we started conversation. Can't remember how, but it ended with him gesturing to my face and saying beauty isn't on the outside, it's on the inside. I'm sure he meant well, but God, did that cause a spiral of self-consciousness. I was only 15. Years ago I used to work in a car lot. Had some guy come in and tell me how I looked just like one of his relatives, except she is pretty. Guy was a total DK. You look like the cousin I wanna FK but uglier. Jesus. I have a good personality. Realizing that. At 44 years old you can't remember anyone ever telling you you are pretty. That's an eye-opener. Considering women tell each other they're pretty even when they're lying. You drop the soap in the prison shower and nothing happens. They say ew. No eye contact. When you ask how to tell whether you're unattractive on Reddit. Oh wait. I had really bad acne in high school. It sucked at the time, but now I can laugh at the fact I used to look like a lumpy tomato. But babies would always cry and I recall a lot of dogs barking at me. I had facial acne and then horrible back acne, which meant that I couldn't take my shirt off as a teenager. The anxiety and horror of dealing with this was unbearable. I could write a book about it. I still have back acne at 28. Would take that over facial acne though for sure. When you post a picture to social media and all the comments are about how brave you are. I love your courage. I'm a wheelchair user who sometimes does photo shoots. I hear this a lot. Not many understand why it hurts to hear. Listen here, turbo wheels. You run their GN toes over and smile at them. And tell them they're so brave to feel pain in their toes. FKM. You're 13 and at a sleepover and a fellow 13-year-old you've known for 20 minutes looks you straight in the eye and, unprompted, says, "You're really ugly." I'm less ugly now, but it was true at the time. You're ABH Jordan. When you're born and the midwife spanks your mother. When your friends say they want to set you up with someone. And they'll run it by the other person then get back to you. Then you never hear about it ever again. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm unattractive. I mean, I simply might not be their type. But also, it's happened a few times now, Sue. I wouldn't read into that too much. Some people get flaky when it comes to being set up by friends. Especially if they overthink it. What if we hit it off and then have a bad breakup and have a bunch of mutual friends and it's awkward to see each other? Etc. I had a friend, A, that I wanted to set me up with one of her friends, B, but she just wouldn't do it. I later found out that A was in love with me and that probably explained why she wasn't any help. When it takes the bartender 15 minutes to notice you. Sometimes this is the opposite. The bartenders ignore the hot chicks at the bar. They will gladly serve the ugly guy desperately trying to hit on the ladies. They tip well. People social distancing to me before it was introduced. When nobody wants you. You never, or rarely, catch people looking at you. And if they do, it's to look at how ugly you are. I always get looked at even though I am unattractive. I am always like, WTF? Maybe you just think you're unattractive? When you're only allowed to go outside after dark. Now, as you can see, the bear is finally comfortable with leaving its cave. When you joke about someone liking you and they act like it's the most repulsive thing in the world. Her? Is she funny or something? Quote. When you are nice from inside talk with your parents, friends. How about when you finally manage to find someone? Your parents keep going on about how they never thought it would happen? Like ever. Yes, this happened in my big fat Greek wedding. It also happened to me in real life 5 years before that movie came out. Thanks, Mom and Dad. You came here to see if anything anyone posted matches your real life experiences. Almost every one of them. Hey. At least we're in this together. S. Okay guys, you can stop listing my characteristics now. I wish I can find a partner just like you. Not you, of course. Someone like you. Man, I've heard this before. It just crushes you. Someone with your personality but cute. One time while going to the gym, a guy held open a door for these smaller, prettier girls and then just stopped holding it for me. To be fair, it's kind of unspoken to let the first 2 to 3 people in and hand off door duty to the next person. IDK, it depends, because if Op was the last person of this line of people going through the door, then the guy dropping the door on her was defo rude. People will, out of absolutely nowhere, remind you that looks aren't everything. When everyone in your friend group, family tells you you look good. But nobody ever flirted with you or was interested in you. Or when your friends talk about how men and boys slide into their DMs on Insta. And it never happened to you. When people talk to you in order to get to know your friend. Man, I felt that punch in the gut. Used to happen to me all the time. Yup, that happened to me when I was in high school. I remember it was literally the worst feeling in the world. especially when that person was someone you found attractive. Happened to me in junior high. My best friend, hot new guy, and I engaged in a water fight during lunch. The bell rang and he touched my shoulder and asked if I could stay back a second because he wanted to ask me something. After 3 years of walking quietly in the shadow of my best friend's incredibly massive middle school BS, I cannot describe the feeling of finally being seen by someone I liked. He asked me if my best friend would say yes if he asked her out, even though my soul was crumbling out my BT in that moment. I told him she would, and walked her over to him, picking up my backpack and walking to class all alone, looking back and seeing them holding hands and smiling into each other's faces. I think he's gay now. When the most common thing you hear from girl is you're a nice friend. You post on Reddit. CP. So lurking on Reddit is fine then? Well, now you've blown it. When people's eyes just consistently glaze over you. When you go clothes shopping with a friend and the shop clerks greet your friend when you enter the store. But not you. That's usually who's in front, who's taller, or who's on the right if the person is right-handed thing. People don't acknowledge that you exist. When the guy in the van is suddenly all out of candy. Quote, when you are the one with the candy. When you're at a party and you stand by the keg for 10 minutes while the dude in charge of filling cups ignores you in favor of all the hot girls who came over after you. At least you get invited to the parties. See the girl next to me? Neither do I. Putting on a ton of makeup and still looking ugly. The only people who smile at you are people who work in retail. Ha, joke's on you, I had a red district girl smile at me. Hate to tell you, but that's considered retail. I thought that was wholesale. Lack of matches on every online dating app you have installed. The only people commenting on your looks are an entire generation older than you. Edit. Generation as in you less than. Parents less than. Grandparents. Stop, this one hurt. You only match with bots on Tinder. And then those bots tell you that you ugly. You ain't got no alibi. You ugly. When your friends and family say they have someone perfect for you. And every single time they show you pictures of equally unattractive people. That's what they think of you. The only compliment you get is that you're funny. You get the sympathy smile. Ah, this one hurts. What's interesting about the sympathy smile is that it looks like a normal smile except you can feel the sympathy part. Yeah, it's like someone worked in a wordless "oh, honey" quote, combined with a "you poor, brave little thing" quote, like you're a trooper for not shooting yourself in the face and just existing like that every single day. You're cute, just not my type. If you hear that a bunch, I have bad news. When you accidentally catch a girl's eye and just give a little smile to not seem rude, and their face contorts in disgust and then they quickly look away and you can hear them exhale with punctuation. Uch. So you learn to take more showers and wear nicer clothes and shave your face and get a haircut more often. And go to the gym twice a week. Then a year later, you've lost 40 pounds. And you are buying well-fitting clothes. And notice how easy it is to open a jar of jelly with just your hands. So then next time you are at the grocery store and catch a random girl's eye, you smile at a girl and she hides her face and she goes "uch." That is when you know you are unattractive. When you go to get your picture taken at the DMV and they turn the flash off. My face breaks the camera, so the DMV uses a sketch artist. When you ask people out and they say, "Ew, I don't even like you as a friend." Quote. Should have ran when you heard them say, "Ew." Quote. When a guy taps you on the shoulder, you turn around to say hi. And then you immediately see the regret on his face. And then he has the BS to admit he doesn't really want to talk to you anymore. # true story. When something bad happens, people don't bend over backwards to tell you it's okay. I once dated an extremely attractive girl who rear-ended a middle-aged gentleman in a nice car, and he just laughed it off and told her not to worry about it. It turns out that was not the first time something like that had happened to her. I was baffled and apparently not attractive enough and/or wrong gender to have ever experienced something like that in my life. Ha.